Welcome back to Tanares RPG, Tanares Adventures, Arena of the Contest, everything. We're kind of covering the gambit of different topics and areas today, but it definitely will be really focused on the Tanares RPG. But there is a couple items that we need to catch up on Tanares Adventures with first. So we have so much to go over. I hope that this won't be too long, but I'll try to put some timestamps later on here. So tonight I got Code here with me. We got XR and Lord Tyshin. And then I'm sure we got some other people here in the chat. Good to see you, Kickstarter Radio 102.4. So anyway, we're gonna jump in here first with there was two Tanares Adventure Kickstarter updates, so we're gonna go over those first. So number 71 is covering this campaign arc, and I don't know, I don't want to spend too much time into this, but it actually is a pretty big thing. So the Tanares RPG stretch goal, one of them at 300k was unlocked, and it says that there's an entire new campaign arc for Tanares Adventures. So yes, that's right. Something that isn't the official product from a different Kickstarter officially is getting stretch goal content that is tied into miniatures and cards or higher, which would be the super kit as well. So the all those pack items. So I was really hoping to have a good discussion with Alex before I brought this one up, because honestly I was really conflicted, and I'm still conflicted on this one, because right, it's basically like, oh, here's some more content for a product that hasn't finished officially yet. And it's not just like little, add-ons. It's like a whole nother arc here, which, may be a big thing or not. I don't know, but I felt like maybe this wasn't maybe the perfect way to tie in some of the I mean, I get that they're trying to do like the cross promotion type stuff of making sure that you would be interested in getting into the RPG side, or at least this campaign. But I don't know, what do you guys think about this one? I'm personally not too happy about it, but I'm definitely going to be having some conversations with Alex this week on a bunch of different issues, but this is for sure going to be a big one.
I'm kind of 50-50 on it as well. I mean, being in both campaigns for Tanares Adventures and Tanares RPG, it's cool because I'm in both and I bought both, but for someone who's kind of iffy about the RPG and is into board games, it's kind of like you can't, I don't think you can play without all the minis from the RPG, so it's kind of like get kind of blocked into a paywall in my opinion, but it's kind of weird to put this as a stretch goal
Yeah.
for a thing that's the focus was the RPG. So
Yeah.
But
Especially
I'm
because like if you don't purchase it, like if you weren't part of the last Kickstarter, you're jumping into this for the first time, and you currently aren't like the board game bundle pledge. Basically this, like if you're just doing RPG, it does nothing. If you're the super kit, then you get something for something that you can't even use.
Yep. But
so
it won't be so bad if it expands Tanaris campaign horizontally. If it's just as, let's say, seventh way to play the main campaign from point A to one of the finishes, one of the endings. If it adds something after endings, then we might have at least small issue.
I
Yeah.
definitely could see how because for me, I've been a backer from Arena, I've been a backer for Tanaris, and now I've been a backer for the RPG, and so for me, I'm like I love this because it it combines all the stuff together. But yeah, if you're just a backer, and I think that like with Dragori trying to bring in an entirely new set of people, like a totally demographic of, hey, here's the D&D group that we weren't able to really like draw into our board game side. Um, it's kind of just confusing. It seems misplaced, I guess.
So I think someone else. So I'm reading your comment here, Kickstarter Radio, about it says it if you combine with the DM-less pack, you can play it like the board game of Tanares. So he's referring to the Super Kit does include the Realm of Madness adventure. So I think someone else said that. I don't know. Maybe that was you in the Kickstarter comments. I personally haven't heard that yet. It may play similar to the board game, but it's still going to be like an RPG, so it's not going to be like, the board game, and it's not, as far as I know, it wasn't going to be, that side. But I don't know. There's, they haven't done their update yet, and I guess I should have prefaced this at the beginning. Because they haven't really, like, they just mentioned this, but they don't really go into detail on anything. This including a lot of the other stretch goals that we're going to cover tonight. But it just, I don't know. I'm still pretty conflicted on this one, and I'm sure there's probably a lot of other people that were as well. So he said it was a comment by Dragori. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens, and maybe if they provide a little bit more information on that. So they talked here about the number of stretch goals that were unlocked, and then some miniatures for the expansion packs, which really we've already gone past that point now from when this update came out. And then they talk about the Gold Dragon. Oh, this is probably the big one here. The Mystical Pack. So this is something that's not actually on the Tanares RPG updates. It's not on the campaign page. It's not currently in the FAQ. But the Mystical Pack is free for backers, or for returning backers. That's either if you've backed during the campaign or you're a late pledge backer. That you can get this for free if you back at Miniatures and Cards Pledge or the Super Kit. This wasn't specifically put on the campaign page. I asked for it to be put on there as well, but they thought that maybe, some people may not be too happy to see that kind of thing. But I mean, it's one of those things that people are just going to find out, right? Like, people are going to be talking about in the comments, talking on YouTube. They're going to be everywhere. Like, it's not going to be a secret eventually, right? So they just show it as like this $29 price point. And honestly, I think it's going to lead to a little bit more confusion for people, because there's probably going to be returning backers that'll be like, oh my god, I got to get the Mystical Pack because for some reason it's not part of this pledge, and then I'm going to add it, and then I'm going to have like 2 on there at some point and be confused as to why that's the case. What do you guys think about the Mystical Pack? I guess we didn't talk about what's in the Mystical Pack. Maybe especially for people that haven't been. Sorry, I'm changing page. Got to update here, make sure we're on the latest thing. For people that haven't been following along with all the updates, that's basically what we're kind of doing here tonight. So looking here at all the packs we have, was it at the top or was it later?
No, you
on?
passed it.
Did I?
Yeah, you passed it.
Classes,
it's about in the middle.
Map. Here it is. Mystical Pack. Okay. And there may be some more work that might go on with this, but basically in summation is they moved some items that were in, what was it called? What was that pack called before they renamed it to the Penumbral Pack? I already forgot what the name was.
Forgot to. Oh, dang. The Super Packer. Was it or something like that?
No. Oh.
Something. It was horribly named, and that was one of the items I was like, really? You guys are not going to take advantage of the name, like the Penumbral Pack? Like, really? So they decided to split some things up. They moved some characters that were in the Penumbra one out to this pack, and then they added the glorious Emperor, who's going to be a commander and who's going to be have a new model. He's going to be reworked, and he's going to have his hero pad and all of his abilities and passives and everything updated to be a commander and no longer be a special. One important,
So that way, when you steal his tiger in PvP, it doesn't bite you in the butt.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, let's not even talk about some of the glaring issues with the special version. So but one point to make in this though is that because he is different, he's also considered at a different point in the like timeline of the Tanares world from when he was in the core box, or I'm sorry, the legendary box. So they're making this one different, and I think the wording of saying reworked, while it's kind of true, it's not true at the same time, because how a lot of people have viewed reworked is, well, it was bad. It was bad before, and now we need to rework it so it's good. Well, there's not really, and everyone has their own opinion, so feel free to let us know if you have a different opinion. But Dragori's opinion was that the miniature was at least good enough quality that they didn't believe that it needed to be reworked, and so they didn't at the time. Now it sounds like that they would like to rework it at all because of customer feedback from the community asking for this, and they're reworking his abilities. So in some ways, it's almost like they just added a new hero, just he has, the same lore, and history to it. Because, and the reason why I want to bring this up is because I know a lot of people have been upset by this, but let's just pretend for a moment that they didn't put the glorious Emperor. It's, the commander or whatever, come up with some other name, and they gave that to us instead. People would still be excited about getting that character, but specifically it's worded as reworked. People feel like something is broken. Am I wrong on this, or what do you guys think?
I'm kind of. I know someone mentioned in the your chop chat here that one of the details in the RPG is time travel.
Exactly.
So I'm not saying anything, but I'm kind of considering it a new hero as I don't. I don't know where I read it, or maybe it was my imagination where they said you could play the Glorious Emperor and then the Faceless Emperor at the same time. So
yeah, it's in maybe it was this update. No, I think it might have been, maybe it was an earlier update, I'm not sure. But yeah, they mentioned specifically, about being able to play the two because they're different. Now, currently, I don't think that, no, no, I'm incorrect. They are planning to completely rework not just the model, but also the abilities, hero pad attack cards with Haran the Shapeshifter as well. Mm-hmm. So now, currently they're just like kind of being vague. Maybe they're going to call him Haran the Scoundrel or something, and maybe they can tie in like a timeline, time travel thing as well. But he's basically going to be like a different character as well, even though his lore, it was previously established, and then we're continuing it. But point remains the same, that if it wasn't specifically this picture, people would be very excited to get another hero. So what do you think, XR?
I was busy looking for the original name, and it was Mystical Pack.
Yeah.
So they changed from Mystical Pack to Penumbral, and then added Mystical on the side. Time travel is wonky and could be very difficult to execute properly.
Well, but they're already planning to do that. I mean, that was even announced in the trailer.
Yeah, but It's too hard to tell it right about say anything about it right
Yeah.
now.
But I mean, in just reference to, the mystical pack and these reworked characters.
I wouldn't consider the word rework to be that had that connotation of something is bad and you have to improve it.
You
It's
didn't think
more
that?
like update. It's not like it was bad. You have to. Not. It wasn't bad. It's just better right now. It wasn't bad. It's improved.
Yeah.
Well, I
Well,
think
So
Dragori kind of introduced the like reworked as kind of a negative thing.
yeah,
Just
they
because
set it
with
up that
their
way.
yeah, with their original minis that came out, they're like, oh my gosh, these are terrible. We're going to rework them. And so they kind of associated that with like really bad character figures and things like that. And
mm,
so I think the language is a little bit weird, but I'm really excited. Like the Faceless Emperor and Haran have a pretty low pick rate. Like when we did our tournament, anytime I've played TTS with anybody, and then even in my like personal when we play PvP or PvE, both of them hardly ever get picked. And I think it's just because their abilities are drastically different than everybody else's. And
Yeah.
so I'm curious to see how they're going to rework them into something that's going to be more friendly and like have a higher pick rate to where they kind of get lumped in with everybody else.
I mean, honestly, I think the real reason that there even exists a special class is because they had already spent so much time building up the other heroes and playtesting them, and it was all in a very balanced state. But then they
Mm-hmm.
wanted to include some other, like, other freebie type things that they could, try to get people to get into the campaign with. And these ones got there, but I don't think they ever reached that same level of testing that the original ones did. And the reason why I say this is because, and I think there's even an update on this, but basically going through the whole history of the development of Arena the contest, they spent years and years doing this as
Mm-hmm.
friends, and then because they wanted to make a game after like a D&D session basically that upset them, and so then they started working on a game, and then they played it internally with friends, and then people were like, wow, this is really good, you guys should like sell this, and then that's kind of where it progressed into becoming a full-fledged game. So those, I'm sure they probably have had so much more playtesting potentially. I mean, this is speculation, obviously. That maybe that's why these ones ended up being, us having specials to begin with.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I'm a little bit disappointed about is like Horan actually has a like chapter in the um
In the art book.
world book.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so if they change like a whole bunch of stuff about him, I'm like, well,
Well,
that whole chapter is kind of
yeah.
useless.
I mean, they
not
may
really.
they may or may not change it, but Alex already did tell me that they were going to do another update for that, and that they were going to offer the art book in a physical form for this in the pledge manager for the RPG.
That's
Mhm.
something I'm excited about. But even if they change Harun's history, it wouldn't matter. Time
Yeah.
travel.
Yeah. Yep, with time travel you basically can just, kind
Multiverse
of
of
do whatever you
Madness.
want, really. But anyway, I don't want to get too much into that because we could go on a whole debate for that, and we have way too much. So that is, I think, the majority of this update number 71. Now we're going to move to Tanares Adventures number 72. So specifically, this first part talks about trying to explain a little bit more, and this is kind of from the fallout of some people not being too excited about the crossover of the different Tanares Adventures stuff and the RPG, and explaining about how Tanares Adventures remains a complete game, and that it doesn't depend on the new packs. So, I could also talk on this one for a really long time, but I'll probably save you guys this. But basically, how I feel is that FOMO, which comes up a lot, the fear of missing out, is universal across Kickstarter, because that is the essence of what Kickstarter is. It's somebody that is a small developer that may never produce something ever again, and it's only available for a limited time. So by essence, a Kickstarter is always FOMO, and it's not really anything any different. Now, I know that there's other arguments, against this, and feel free to bring it up in comments, or if you guys want to quickly talk about it. You have any conundrums here, Code or XR or Taisha?
I mean, it's just kind of weird how it's playing out. I mean, I know people, the fear of missing out on this stuff is pretty big, because I don't know the next time it'll be offered. So
I just feel like with Dragori, there's a like if you feel like you missed out on something, like just communicate with them, and they're great at making you whole, and like I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like they're one of the best Kickstarters I've ever backed. I've backed a few other ones, and their communication's way better. Their customer service is way better. It made me want to continue shopping with them. I do think on this particular update, like this one almost should have been in bold, where it says like a campaign between waves has been planned since January 2020.
Yeah.
Where it's like this RPG campaign was supposed to come out between wave 1 and wave 2. Like we announced that a long time ago. Like this is not something new. And a lot of people have had a lot of questions about like, why are they launching the campaign now when Tanares hasn't been delivered? And that's like, well, we were going to do that from the beginning. We told you we were going to do that.
Yeah, and a lot of us that were following back then knew that as well. Like if you even saw the draft page for the original Tanares Adventures, that's why it was a complete mess on that one. In fact, I almost feel like that the RPG page is a lesser mess of what that one was, because it was a huge mess of all stuff all over the place, and it was like, holy crap, I don't know what the heck I'm purchasing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this one obviously has its own issues as well. I don't think it's quite as bad, but there's still some challenges.
No, even for me, I took my pledge for this one and like sent it to you guys in a group chat. I was like, I got everything right. Like this is what I'm supposed to buy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
The thing is, I think that like half of the issues that people were complaining about could be very easily resolved by just them reading the updates.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Like,
I mean, for somebody,
it's written here.
For somebody that spends about like 90% of his time just reading, going through the comments, I mean, so many times is the things that it's like, 90% of these comments could have been answered if someone just looked at the page. And a lot of them are not like hidden items either. I would say probably like 70% of them are very common type things that are very easy to find. It's not like something that was hidden.
Or they are already answered in frequently asked questions.
Yeah. Well, that's been getting an update as we went on too. But yeah, anyway, we'll talk probably more about that later. Let's move on to the next part of this. That is the Madness Box sample. So these are resin, believe, resin pictures of the new Madness Box monsters. So we got the Augur here. We got the Arachna Queen lady. I guess the first thing that stuck out to me too was like the bases are much more unique than what they've done previously, which is kind of interesting. There's some of this separation that's going on, and it gets worse in a couple areas. For some reason, the Titan is like on like a standard base, and then he's standing on a rock, so it looks a little bit awkward, I guess. And I wish...
Not really.
What?
I would say it's standard. Look at, let's say, Games Workshop bases for their characters.
Okay, but look at this picture. the
I
Balrog?
would assume that he will stand on normal
Like maybe they
base.
didn't
The
actually
regular,
place
yeah,
the base with it.
yeah,
That could be it. That could be why.
just to keep all the sizes correct for board.
Yeah, that's very possible because, um, yeah, just looking at this, I'm like, well, why the heck does this guy not have anything that it doesn't look like he'd even fit like on the board correctly then, versus
Yeah,
like this guy where it's like it's very obvious where his position is.
and if you
Anyway,
look on the another one,
yeah. So then we'll
it's already
move
there.
down. We get the slide view of the auger there. I mean, I think they look pretty good from these pictures. The biggest issues being, which is going to come up here in a second, you got the Arachne Queen with all the spiders and stuff around here. I wish they would have had a little miniature to see, like a hero miniature to compare, so we could see how tall the Titan was, because that was something a lot of people asked about. Because even the Lich here, I know he's supposed to be, I think he's supposed to be like a standard size. He's not supposed to be as big as like the Titan and some of the other ones. He's a smaller one, so it's kind of hard to get it without that scale.
I'm just excited to have the Titan because, like, reading the original world book, he's on there, and I'm like, who is this guy? What does he do?
And we got the Chimera, who also doesn't really have like a base thing going on. I believe that isn't that the name they used for this one, or was it something else?
I think it's Chimera.
It's the Chimera.
I think it might be really frustrating with those wings, though. Like, as you try to surround it with melee characters.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even still, I think, yeah, there's been a lot of miniatures I've been concerned about, like that overhang issue. Where yeah, it's like it's overhanging, and then it's like, man, now I can't even get my heroes to stand around it, right?
With the original Green Dragon, there was a lot of times where I'm like, okay, he's gonna stand inside the claw. Like that's just where he's gonna be.
There's the Titan from behind. He did not skip back day, everyone. Don't skip back day, all right? So you can look like the Titan.
Or tricep day. Good for him.
It's good to have goals, life goals, people. And then coming up here, see some of the wings from
That's what it looks like when you skip back day.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, this one is the first one that I saw as well, and then of course there was some pretty hilarious comments saying like I could drive a bus through those separations. That was probably my favorite. So appreciate that one. Yeah, I hope that's just just this photo and not actually representative of anything final. Which these are still like production resin, so they're gonna go and probably touch things up from there. So it's always good to bring that feedback, guys. And in fact, they even ask for it here at the end. We're always eager to hear your feedback, so make sure to place it in here if you haven't already. This is update number 72, or you can put it in the comment section. But Dragori does pay attention to this stuff. That's something I feel like sometimes people may forget, but they are watching.
They're very good about listening to feedback from the community.
Yeah. So that is update number 72. Let's move on to our next topic here. We're jumping over to the Tanares RPG campaign. This is update number 5. The reason I went to number 5 is because basically all the other ones just talk about, hey, look, we were funded, and look, we did some, we completed some stretch goals, and then the next one is, we made over 1 million, we completed some stretch goals, and oh, by the way, here's some other Kickstarters to check out. But that's about it. So this is the first one that actually has some real content, except for one little item that I'll talk about after this section. All right, so in update number 5, it's talking about the Dragori's history and kind of the crossover, as well as the chaos domain for the Cleric subclass that they're adding in here. That was one of the stretch goal items. And then, of course, talks about some of these miniatures here. We'll get to that later. But anyway, they go into some history talking about the directors, which are pictured here. Alex, Dan, Dan's here on the right, Clayton's in the middle, and then Alex on the left. And kind of how they went through all this, and then coming up to today's timeline. And how they came up with the RPG. So then they go on to talk about kind of the connection of I'd say it's almost like the three pillars of this campaign. It's the RPG, which is, just the role-playing game and the books and stuff, basically the books and the little items related to that, like the map and stuff. Slipcase and whatnot, and then the board games section, where you can get the board game related items like Tanares Adventures, Arena of the Contest, the Madden Xbox, Dragon Collection, all that stuff. And then there's the minis, which is like the expansion pack items that also have some board game elements, but they're not quite supposed to be quite as tied in, but they talk about like these connections between these of how you don't need minis to play the RPG. You don't need minis for the board these for the RP. You don't need minis nor RPGs to play board games. To play with minis, you need either RPG or one of the board games. So trying to kind of help connect that for some of the people that are not too happy. I think this is just, and trying to explain how some of this connects a little bit more, because it has been a little unclear, what the tie-in is, especially for people that haven't really been paying attention to the entire development or just kind of jumping in. These things are a little more obvious to us who's been following on, but man, there's some great artwork here too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I'm trying to check the comments here, make sure I'm not missing anyone. All right. Going to pledges and add-ons. So then it talks about the different pledge levels, add-on levels. Try to help clarify this because there was a lot of questions in Kickstarter over and over and over about, well, I don't understand what this is or what that is and blah, blah, blah. And so they're just trying to help clarify those. More great artwork there that they're using as avatars. And then now talk about the subclass reveal. Not being a huge RPG person myself, I still read through this. It sounds pretty exciting. I don't know how well balanced or how special this is within like the Cleric class, but it sounds pretty interesting that basically you each day you'll be able to have your chaotic prayers, I guess, go to your chaos gods or whatnot. We're definitely not talking about Warhammer here. That you can basically change your spell list to be, like other ones like Bard or Druid or Sorcerer or Warlock. And it's just basically kind of like a random chaotic thing. And so you have to deal with the possible of completely different playstyle every time you play, which has its pros and cons.
I would say this is definitely an advanced subclass of
Yeah,
be
probably.
familiar with all of those spellcasters before you do that. It would also be interesting because
the subclass is tied, answering a question here. The subclass is specifically for the RPG. There's not anything, this does not tie into the board game at all.
It's going to be interesting to see how because a warlock, they only cast at the highest spell slot that they have available and then recover it on a short rest. So I'm curious how the mechanic of that would work, because the other ones all cast similarly.
It's explained in another paragraph.
Oh.
They have access to their domain and to that spell list as if they were cleric spells. So probably normal rules about if it's tier 2. Tier 2, use slot level 2 or higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I meant by that is, nah, never mind. We'll talk about that later, I guess.
I think that they will, if you pick a warlock, it will be just used as a normal spell. So let's say if it says if you have a spell slot level 3, it will be level 3. Doesn't upgrade all of your slots into the, let's say, level 5.
So one of the things someone says in here is he said supposedly the subclasses do have cards to be used in arena. I know that there's those cards, but I mean, as far as I know, I don't think that they're supposed to actually be tied
No,
into any heroes or anything like that for the board game.
for all I know, from what they have on the stretch goal tile,
Hmm.
it just says Player's Guide to Tanares. So
Yeah,
it will be just another chapter in the book, and that's it.
yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's quite as much tie-in as some people are thinking. A lot, some of the like RPG specific stuff like this whole section here is talking specifically about the book, that is specific to the RPG and not to the board game. So in regards to RPG for Tanares, would you recommend one of the 5e rule books? Definitely at the minimum, just read that free one that you can get online. There's been numerous links to it, or I'm sure you can just do a quick Google search and be able to find it. But that's pretty much all you need if you want to expand. Like, let's say you want to build out like a full, special kind of, class of barbarians or bard or whatever else, then the player's handbook is probably like the only other thing that you could potentially really want to like get into. But other than that, really, like the idea is you know the basic rules, and then you have these books, and that should be it. Like you don't need to buy anything else. Okay, let's see. Anything else on this update? I don't think so. Let's move on to we'll talk about the main page, but specifically this was in an update, but I'll bring it up here. So for the Gold Dragon, it was available for the first 24 hours. I think that, in my opinion, it was kind of a mistake that they only limited it to 24. I think it should have been at least 48 because I think that's what Medusa was as well. But anyway, we're past that point now. Point is, if you backed the campaign and your backer number is 5,904 or lower, then you are eligible to receive the Gold Dragon for free. But you have to have, by the end of the campaign, or at least I think maybe in the Pledge Manager, you have to have Essential Kit or higher to still get that for free. So 5,904 is the number for backer number. Otherwise, you can still purchase it for, I believe, $29 unpainted, and then a painted version I think is like 58. So that is coming up. All right. Just wanted to throw that one out there. That's something really easy for people to miss, and I'll probably tag this video so that way if this comes up again, people can find it. All right, so let's go into the stretch goals. Let's see where we're at. We've accomplished quite a bit. You saw at the top we're currently at 1,300,000 and what was it, 26,000 or something like that.
27.
27. Yeah, it was somewhere around there. So getting pretty close on our next stretch goal. We've unlocked a lot of these extra minions. So the most important thing to keep watch for, especially if you haven't really looked at the stretch goals, is the bottom left here shows what stretch goal or what product that stretch goal is tied to. So this isn't the same as like a lot of other Kickstarters where you just pick like a pledge and then it's like, okay, well that's it, I got everything. This is very specific to the items that you're going to be purchasing. So the Penumbral Pack, which is in the miniatures and cards pledge, or the Super Kit. You'll be getting this extra Pain miniature and villain card. I used to have it up. Dang it, I guess I don't have it now. Sorry about that. But the villain card specifically is a card to allow it to be played, I believe, in Tanares Adventures. That's one of the things that they changed. Instead of using like the quest books, now you get like villain cards that will indicate their health and their abilities and stuff like that. Moving on here, we have let's see, some new monsters, so some stuff for the source book. We get another miniature, spider miniature, which is in the villain pack. This is actually the same sculpt that is in Tanares Adventures, so basically you're getting a whole nother spider, which might not be too bad considering I think they removed some of the spiders to replace them with some other models from the in Tanares Adventures campaign. These GM-less adventure deck, just to prevent the confusion. That's the quote-unquote solo mode, which is not really solo because you can still play with other people. It just means that you don't need a game master or dungeon master to actually play the RPG. So it's just for the RPG.
I think I read that was up to 4 people could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's up to 4.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, real quick. Hoping they add opposite genders on class and race miniatures. Yeah, we're gonna get to that because actually, spoiler alert, they are already going to be offering some other genders. It sounds like. So Penumbral Pack, getting another Greed miniature and villain card. We're getting this Tower miniature, which was this is the first time that this is entering for the scenario pack, which is basically just terrain for people that don't know. We're getting a Curious miniature for the character pack. This is an extra one, so that way if you wanted to have somebody else role playing as the second one of these angel-like characters, by the way, their wings do come off. So good for painting and good, I guess, for role playing.
And storage.
And storage, yeah, definitely. Some more cards here for the solo mode. I feel like there was a lot of those. I don't know about you guys, but Chaos Domain, which we talked about already. We talked about this new character arc for Tanares Adventures. Okay, then this talking about this week 1, 2 goes all the way up to 7. This is basically tying into that new campaign. So all of those are related to that new campaign arc for Tanares Adventures. Going on the scenario pack, receiving a Tombstone miniature, which is new, and then we're getting a lot more towers and a lot more of these tombstones, which I know was kind of disappointing for some people to see the same ones. I mean, I guess it would be nice if there was slightly different, at least slightly different sculpts for these, and it wasn't completely identical. But that's just kind of my own personal opinion on that one. Then some more stuff for the solo mode. Another one here from the community mission for more open world type stuff. Getting another Gloomfolk, new NPC Gloomfolk and new Gloomfolk equipment. So there's like an equipment card and stuff like that. So I'm wondering if that's part of that.
I don't think it will be a card. I think it's just in the book. Like additional chapter.
That's kind of what I'm thinking as well, because all the cards have been tied into those extra packs. So that's probably how they're going to do it. Extra Anger miniature, which is also in the Penumbral pack, and then the monster card for that. 3 new monsters. I know a lot of people have already been asking for more monsters and more variation on the monsters. So I think that's something that Dragori is going to have to stay on top of and keep looking into, because I don't know. I haven't played a lot of other RPGs really, so I don't really know how much different I guess some of the monsters can be, but I'm sure they can be pretty varied if you imagine something.
Let's just say that there's 7 or 8 different types of oozes in D&D. So they can get kind of interesting.
And don't touch them.
Yeah.
Yeah, never touch an ooze, that's for sure.
NPC Curus and new Curus equipment, extra Groomfolk miniature monster card for Tanares Adventures in the character pack. Then going on to the Redeemer subclass, the Shepherd. So that one is another one that they haven't talked about yet, but I'm sure there will be an update on that. Gazzini is a hero. That was a really exciting one for a lot of people.
It's so good.
Yeah,
Yes.
stretch gold.
Mr. Max himself was very happy about his Gazzini daddy finally hitting the page here. Good old Gazzini daddy. Moving on, we got some more monsters coming in the source book. Another subclass, Kinetic Fist, which basically this is Horus. I'm not sure who else that could be, but that looks exactly like him.
Exactly like him. I'm very excited to read about
in a very veiny way, by the way. Look at those veins.
So vascular.
At the same time, I think they will make another post like they did for Cleric for Monk, but they want to do it for Redeemer, because Redeemer is their own class with their new subclasses, because it's a new class, but Monk is already existing in D&D, so they will probably show it off in future update.
Yeah, I'm excited to see, because like if it's based on Horus, which like it looks like Horus is a kinetic fist monk, it would be cool to be able to see his attack cards turned into like a D&D special, like how he uses his key
like
points
special
and
rules
stuff.
and stuff.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm just curious how they're going to implement that. I'm excited to see it.
That would be pretty cool. Yes, the art is pretty amazing. In fact, one of my friends from work who's pretty big into a lot of role-playing games, that was the first thing he said. He was like, "Oh my God, the art is absolutely amazing in this." It's like you can't downplay that enough. Okay, so extra Timaku miniature monster card. So another possible bad guy / monster, although they're kind of a people, so
His playable race.
Yeah, it's a playable race, so I'm not really sure why I call it monster, but I mean, have some standards, Dragori.
Probably villain card.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been some humans that I've been like, what a monster. So I
Yeah,
get
right?
it. I get
That's
it.
true. That's true. 6 new locations, adventure hooks, so more stuff for the source book. That map has got to be getting bigger there in the Bennett region, I guess. You can find that for free currently on the RPG website. In fact, I think they might. I'm not sure if it's in on the campaign page or not, but I know for sure if you sign up with your email and everything, you'll get that map for free. More stuff for the solo deck here with the Magical Research Tower. That's the Crystal Tower from Arena the Contest. Rules for betting in arena fights, because, I mean, why wouldn't you?
It doesn't love the gamble.
Yeah, right? Code's like, I'm already gambling on, like, 5 different fights already.
Yeah, Toronto's going to win the whole thing.
Yeah. Moving on, we got new divine spells, 1 for each circle. Player guides to Tanares. I guess one thing I want to mention about some of these things like this, where it's mentioning like spells and stuff. I saw somebody made a comment about this, which I thought was pretty good, because there's not. Some of the stuff isn't very clear exactly how much different like spells or very specific things like this, how many of those that they're adding. So is that like a lot? Is it not a lot? I don't know. Like, especially like how many monsters there are. I don't think they explicitly say how many monsters there are that's coming in the source book. All right, moving on. We got the Extra Envy miniature monster card in that penumbral pack, filling it up with all kinds of ghoulish figures there. Um, More NPCs, Investigation Lines, Iron Hand Fortress. All this is, very much tying into a lot of, locations from Arena of the Contest. So we'll probably see a lot of those coming up in the solo mode, which, by the way, GM-less adventure deck. Sorry, not solo mode. By the way, I believe this was asked a couple times. I believe that this adventure is following the same thing that's in the Realms of Madness. So people have been asking, like, well, are they going to get a different experience that's in there? I don't believe so. I think it's the same thing. I think it's, or at least very similar, because they, obviously can't do it exactly the same, but very similar to what the Realms of Madness is going to give you. But it's so far it's sounding like it's kind of like a choose your own adventure, where you have different things come up, and then you'll flip to probably different cards to see like the outcomes of your actions that you decide to do. Very much like how the arena, the contest campaign is actually very, very similar. Although it's still kind of limited in that, but we'll see. Maybe this will be a way more expanded version.
I'm excited to see Taishin as an NPC in the 5th edition campaign, because
Yeah,
he's an NPC in the Arena of the Contest, the
yeah.
book.
Maybe he'll come back,
He
but he won't
wasn't
be a
killed.
lord.
He won't be. That was before I gained
It's
my
already it's
lordship.
already it's already crossed out. He's not going to be a lord.
That is true.
All right, Dragon Blade subclass Kelroth. So the white dragon here will, if you followed the sample, basically all the Dragon Blades have their different variations of them based on the different dragons. So I guess Kelroth wasn't already in there, so I guess they're out in that one. 3 new monsters, magic destroying creatures spawned from the Malarkian curse. Malrokian curse. I always, I always,
Marlowe.
I always mess that up every time. It's just such a weird word to me.
It's too close to malarkey.
Yeah, basically. All right, then you get the Kemen miniature plus a monster card for Tanares Adventures. So getting another one of these, that's good stuff. Magic item pack, so a lot of magic items that will be in the book, like we talked about earlier. Probably not a card. More stuff for the solo mode in the Phantom Prison, which is not actually in Arena of the Contest. So that's probably a Tanares related item. Some more locations, adventure hooks in the different regions over here. The I forget about the Tesfan Tun. God, this is horrible. Me trying to pronounce these different names. Um, Region, I don't specifically remember that one, but the Yama one I thought was the one that's supposed to be. At least one of the catastrophes happened in that area. And then I thought it was also the same area where, like, right along the edge is the location for Rokaru's locate where he's from. Basically, it's actually east of the map, so it's not actually on the map. From the lore perspective, assuming it hasn't changed from the art book, I believe that's still the case. They have like a giant wall, shocker, right? Uh,
Hmm.
that kind of blocks them out from the rest of the Empire, so they're not ruled by the Empire.
Shocker.
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 Well, right? I mean, like Asian region that has a giant wall. Like, I mean, they did
Never
that on
heard of it.
purpose.
We have to build a wall.
Yeah, right. Okay, then storage. So this is actually something that was talked about. I mean, this is probably why they put it as a community mission. They've already talked about this, basically about how a lot of these items will be stored in Tanares Adventures for all these new miniature packs that are coming in the RPG. It'll be either in Tanares Adventures or it'll be in the Penumbral pack. So they're going to be offering those, so that way you don't have to have I mean, what is there, like 5 new packs, 4 new packs? Obviously, the scenario pack has to be like in its own box though, because that's like a lot of big like terrain pieces. So you're not gonna be able to probably put all that in jamming that in Tanares Adventures. Probably over freaking whelmed. I mean, I can only imagine that freaking box got to be massive.
Yeah, I need a bigger closet to put all my games in.
Right? In fact, speaking of, I was at a convention here called ReaperCon, and I only brought 3 boxes, which it sounds like a lot. It was heavy as hell, by the way. But I brought that, and I was able to play actually with one of our Discord community members. We did some boss versus boss, which was a lot of fun. And then got to check out. I had I had the Dragon collection with me, so I left out the painted miniatures for people to see, and everyone was pretty amazed by the quality of them. And I mean, I was too. If you saw my video, I talked a good amount about that, but they are pretty good for a manufactured. Now it's not it's not going to be as good as hand painted, like a professional. But if you're like some people who just like don't really care that much and they just want something to get on the table, then it's a good option for that.
You were just excited because you were a celebrity for a second.
Oh yeah, I was like, wow, people like actually know me. I just kind of just log in here every once in a while, like do a video, and there's like 2 people that watch, and I'm like, okay, well, that's it for the night. See you guys later.
But instead it was, hey, you're that flanks guy.
Yeah. Well, it didn't even start that way. It started with I went to go get lunch, and my wife was staying there, and they saw the arena stuff out, and they're like, "Oh my God, you got all this stuff?" And she's like, "Oh, well, my husband, he's like, he's really into this game and blah blah blah." And they're like, "Oh wow," and I forget exactly how she came up, but they're like. Oh, you're Flanks' wife, and oh my God, and blah blah blah, and it was like, oh, okay, I guess somebody knows something.
Somebody knows your wife.
Yeah. All right, so moving on here, we have some more stuff coming. This is what just basically kind of came up today. Probably like an hour or 2 ago. So we got some more monsters coming. This is the bigger one here. New Gloomfolk equipment, new mini, and different gender. So obviously the sculpt doesn't look like it was completed yet, but you'll see that they kind of like hovered out there, so you can see the female character picture here. So it's going to be the female Gloomfolk miniature, which is really awesome. A lot of people have been asking for the different genders. Which is, I mean, without a doubt, we talked about this when we were looking over the page before. They showed, the classes and then some of these races having genders on both sides. We know it's coming, right? It's got to come. Like, there's no way that they couldn't have offered multiple genders. And then we got the some more stuff here for the solo mode, extra nightmarish challenges in the Penumbral Mountain. So there's apparently a mountain now that's a Penumbral Mountain. And then 30-page adventure booklet, The Hunt for Azymor. All pledges that include digital books and files. So this is basically, I mean, obviously we don't know yet. It's not unlocked. Eventually, I'm sure we'll hit this point, but this isn't anything that we've seen before. So I'm actually kind of curious, what exactly this is going to be. What do you guys think?
One shot.
A one shot?
Yep.
That's a pretty good possibility. Yeah.
Hunt for Azymor.
You got to find them. Got to catch them all, right? You got to get all your Pokemon.
As long as it's a level 3 one shot where you're hunting an avatar dragon. I mean, it literally could be like, I know it's adventure booklet, but it could be a story.
Yeah, it's definitely a dragon hunt, by the way, Kickstarter radio. I know that. I just meant like, yeah, what Exactly, is it? Yeah, is it like just like a side quest thing? Is it a whole like, like XR was saying, like a, one shot or what?
30 pages is crazy.
Yeah, this seems kind of big to me, but they did put a pretty big jump between the other items that have been like 10,000 apart, and then this one's now at 25.
Hmm.
But I'm guessing that maybe, and this is me speculating again, that they may wait like another day or two or something to like get it up about this 1350K point, and then maybe they'll toss in a new add-on like dice or something like that, which we know is coming. That they're going to be offering their own dice, and that'll help us get to this a lot quicker. I think that's why there's this bigger separation, is because they're planning to throw out an add-on here pretty soon, and that'll skyrocket us into it.
And Azymor already exists as a miniature in Dragon Collection. He's the Red
Mhm.
Dragon.
Yes, that's correct. Yes, he's the Red Dragon. His miniature looks pretty good. In fact, go check out my video where I go over the Dragon Collection. You can see him up close. The gold, that was one of the things that really stuck out to me when I saw the gold on that dragon. It really came out a lot better than I expected it to. Okay. Oh wow, this is also new too. They didn't have this before, but they're actually listing the subclasses now. So previously it just said 12 subclasses were going to be revealed. Obviously we know that there's a couple that have been mentioned in the stretch goals, but they haven't done an update on it. So I'm sure that's what they're waiting for. Okay. Next subject here. We're almost at the end, everyone. We're almost there. Sorry, this is already going over an hour. If you've watched my channel for a while, you already know like they're never short. Okay, translations. This is new right here. German language is going to be officially offered for the RPG book. So you can now get, I'm sorry, you'll be able to get this in the Pledge Manager once that goes up after the campaign is over. But that is good news for people that, speak the German language, or at least, I'm sorry, read the German language. That now you'll be able to read in your own language and not have to, learn Spanish, Portuguese, or English. So that is newer news. They are still trying to get some other ones. I know one of the top ones that they're really trying to get is the French language, because for anyone that's also follows well, we actually have a pretty big French community for the Tanares world. But they I think they're actually kind of offset. They have their own Discord, but they have their own people that do like YouTube stuff. I'm not sure if it's still at the same level it used to be, but that's what I've heard previously. But yeah, so they're working on that. So hopefully before the campaign's over, French will be in here as well. But I'm not gonna make any promises. I don't want to anyone to think that it is coming because I said it this one time. But they're working on it. I know that. Yeah, they did mention. You're right. They did mention about needing basically about 100 backers or so to pretty much make the cost worth it for doing translations for the books. So yeah, 427 German backers, and then Kickstarter Radio says that there's 180 French backers. So they should probably be added if that is the case, but we'll see. It's not just about the number of backers; it's also about having the publishing company that can help with that and be able to turn it around in a decent amount of time, and be able to make it worthwhile for them too, right? Because it's still a company, right? Not just Dragori, but any of these publishing companies that are helping, they're going to want to be able to make some money off of it as well. Okay, so That's translations. And now the moment you have all been waiting for. I'm sure this is why you guys are all just still sitting in here waiting for me to finally tell you who won the core box giveaway. All right, Code, where's the drum roll? Code fell asleep. All right.
I don't know, you couldn't hear that?
No, I didn't hear nothing.
I tried doing drum roll.
Okay. Lord Tyson, drum roll. Okay. The winner is Davey Capletti.
Nice.
So Davey Capletti, Capeletti. You have won. I will be messaging you in Discord about sending it to you, and we'll get that figured out. But thank you so much for everyone that that entered the contest to try. Trust me, after reading like some of the comments that you guys put down, I wish I had like I think I had 40 people that entered. I wish I had 40 boxes and every single one of you could have gotten one, because I know a lot of you have your family and friends and other people that you want to either have experience it, or the people that don't have the funds for it, or I know that there was like the schools that was hoping to get it as well, but I mean, I just want you guys to know that I didn't try to give anyone preference. It was basically just a random giveaway, because that's the only way I can figure it to be fair. So Davey Capeletti, you are the winner, and we'll talk to you soon. But anyway, that is it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed our talk here. Do you guys, Code, Tyson, XR, any of you guys got any last minute comments?
We're close to, I think, another stretch goal. They're only like under 2,000 off, isn't it?
Yeah, looks like it.
Other than that, I'm excited to see what happens this week with this. Should be another interesting couple updates that come out, and we'll see what happens.
Yep, and we'll keep going. I'm gonna be trying to get some other answer for some things this week. But anyway, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Really appreciate all your guys' support. Definitely makes it a lot of fun to be able to come in here and do these discussions with you guys with all this correspondence. But anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at the next one.